We've all seen it happen. A nonprofit spends months and sometimes thousands of dollars crafting a massive strategic plan, only for it to become shelfware. It gets printed, bound, and then filed away, never to be looked at again. The problem with these traditional plans is that they trap organizations into managing administrative checklists and retrospective budgets. Teams get bogged down in the what of their daily operations, losing sight of the why that drove their mission in the first place. To fix this, we can adopt the 5-step strategy blueprint. This is an agile design thinking framework built specifically for nonprofits to re-energize staff and focus resources on the people they serve. Replacing top-down mandates with a human-centered framework allows an organization to build its strategy around the specific, evolving needs of its community. Step 1 is empathy to insight. You start by bringing your team together for a focused 30-minute mapping workshop to identify every key persona interacting with your organization, from your core beneficiaries and ground-level staff to your donors and board members. The objective here is to strip away internal assumptions. You need to document what these stakeholders are actually responsible for, what their personal visions are, and how they define value. A critical mistake to avoid during this step is relying on token voices. Mapping out your stakeholders without gathering direct, lived input from them creates a false map that will lead your planning completely off course. Once you know who you are serving, you move to step 2, walk in their shoes. You dedicate 20 minutes to an empathy mapping exercise for each of those T personas. This diagram shows the structure of an empathy map. We break the persona's experience down into 4 specific quadrants to document exactly what they say, do, think, and feel while interacting with your organization. Filling out this map forces your team to uncover hidden frictions and quiet workarounds. It ensures everyone leaves the room with a shared mental model of exactly what your beneficiaries are experiencing. Strategy cannot exist in a vacuum. If your operational plan isn't firmly rooted in the lived reality of the people you intend to help, it will break down the moment it meets the real world. With your empathy maps completed, step 3 is the need to succeed. Here, you translate those raw observations into focused, shareable opportunity statements. To do this, we use a specific formula. Your team fills in the blanks. The stakeholder needs a way to blank, so that blank. Next, your team democratically dot votes on these statements. You are looking to isolate the specific problems that, if solved, will create the highest possible lift for your mission. Knowing exactly what problem to solve takes us to step 4, launch and adapt. Now, your team can transition into brainstorming big idea solutions, specifically designed to address those winning opportunity statements. To filter that raw brainstorm, we use this prioritization grid. We plot every idea against 2 metrics: stakeholder value on the y-axis and team feasibility on the x-axis. The goal is to isolate obvious choices in the top right quadrant. This grid filters ideas based on measurable constraints, shifting the decision-making from boardroom politics to the actual data on the screen. Ruthless prioritization is your ultimate defense against nonprofit burnout. Having a system that empowers you to confidently set aside low-feasibility distractions is what makes fulfilling your core mission possible. Finally, step 5 is drive results. This is where we replace the waterfall planning trap with an agile execution strategy. The waterfall approach is the mistake of trying to build, fund, and launch a massive, rigid program all at once, before testing any assumptions. The alternative is the cake experience roadmap, which provides a structured system for building out your programs incrementally. You start with a cupcake, a quick, affordable, minimal delightful experience to test your core idea and gather feedback. Once successful, you scale the initiative up into a medium-sized birthday cake program. Finally, you evolve that proven concept into a high-complexity wedding cake initiative. This iterative scaling process reduces financial risk while delivering immediate value to your beneficiaries while the larger program is still being constructed. Adopting this 5-step blueprint integrates strategic planning into your organization's regular operational cycle.
You do not need perfect conditions, massive operating budgets, or flawless teams to begin implementing these steps. Success in this framework comes from being purposeful in your approach to the mission, rather than waiting for the perfect moment to start. Set a date, gather a small core team, and officially schedule your first stakeholder mapping session. Leadership that builds a system of active listening and adaptation creates the resilience needed to meet a mission and a change.